Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw News Brief. We're going to try to keep this one brief today. I wonder if, as I'm putting this one together, something else will break. Maybe about cameras and toilets, Larson.
Oh, gosh.
We're waiting for that one till next week, apparently. Let's just go with what we got, Larson. What's in the news?
So, Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee, formerly known as Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, the Iiconics, they launched their new podcast, Off Her Chops, today. And in the first episode, talked about the anxiety of traveling during their WWE days. These transcripts are from Fightful. This is what Cassie had to say, quote, "I would get physically ill inside of an airport, put me on a plane getting to the next town. Remember one time we had to pull the car over on the highway? I thought I was going to throw up. I feel like it just got worse every week. If it's for leisure, sure, the airport is great. Love flying. Give me a window seat so I don't vomit all over myself. But I didn't know when it was. It was just different when it was for work for some reason. I knew every time I got on a plane, I wouldn't be back for 5 days. Then when I got home, I'd only have 2 nights at home. And in that time, I would have to do all my washing, rearrange my bag, run my errands, and I would maybe have half a day to myself to spend with my then fiance and my dogs. And it really took its toll on my mental health personally."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Jessica McKay tells a story about how she was sitting down a middle seat. Cassie's behind her, and then 2 people sit next to her. She kind of has a bit of a panic attack. And she says, so it was a husband and a wife that were sitting opposite sides of the aisle. So they wanted to be together. She says, as soon as he sat down, I was trying to close my eyes and just breathe. Oh my gosh, I started crying. I called the stewardess over. I said, "I'm so sorry. I'm about to have an anxiety attack. I need to get an aisle seat. Is there anything you can do?" And she said, "No." Literally said no and walked away. I looked around to you and I've got tears in my eyes. I'm like, okay, this is fine. We get up in the air. I literally take my laptop because I was watching a show and stand next to the toilet for 4 hours. The stewardess was like, "You have to move." And I was like, I'm about to go crazy on this plane. So let me stand here and watch the OC. Oh my gosh. So that's just 2 of the things that I guess were amplified by 1,000 when you're traveling. You don't expect it. I mean, you don't expect to have panic attacks on the way to the airport, and I expect to have panic attacks up in the plane.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about that is that, everybody has, either you love being on the plane, you hate being on the plane, or you're somewhere in between. Everybody's got their thing about flying. But what was interesting about hers is that it was very specific to working, because she had to be away from home for 5 days, and then she got 2 days, and in those 2 days,
Yeah. Let me speculate a bit. I'm not Cassie. I'm not Jessica McKay. I've had my own experience with the anxiety. So I guess I can speak from my perspective. It's not necessarily. There's been times where I've had jobs that it's like the last thing I want to do. The last thing I want to do is get up in the morning and go to the office, and go to work, or go wherever it was, and go to work.
Yeah.
And so I know that feeling of getting in the car and just like sitting behind my steering wheel thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I don't know if the anxiety is necessarily over the act of flying in this case, because for me, it was the anxiety was not the fact that I had to drive to work. The anxiety was having to go to work and deal with the long hours, the stress of being at work, whatever the case may be. And I wonder, in their case, I don't know when in the timeline these panic attacks were happening, but if you're on the road 5 days a week, you go to TV, after being home for a day and a half, essentially, and you go to TV not knowing what you're going to be doing, if anything, or being under the impression that you're going to be doing something, showing up and having it be completely something different or nothing at all. I mean, that's got to take its toll, You can try to compartmentalize, I think, the best you can, but at the same time, this is one thing it seems about professional wrestlers, is that they're very passionate about their craft. They have to be. They're putting their body on the line every day for entertainment. They're away from home all the time. You got to be passionate about it to do that. And early on in the show, they're talking about how, they're like the only 2 wrestling fans at their high school, and they come up through the system together, starting in Australia. They did their tryout at the same time. They came to NXT at the same time. And to be so passionate about pro wrestling, and then for that to kind of be a source of anxiety for you at some juncture, that only adds to the anxiety of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lacey would talk about the same kind of thing working at the freaking post office before she quit. How, she's there all day, And then she comes home. She has like maybe an hour or two to spend with her family before it's nighttime, or it's bedtime. And then like, she has 2 days to get like her personal affairs in order. And yeah, that's if you don't like your job, that's a nightmare to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They also talked about what to expect. I mean, they gave a very brief rundown, sort of overview of of them knowing each other, because it's obvious they want this to sort of expand beyond the topics of wrestling.
Yes.
And, they talked about how much they love their Smackdown debut, winning the tag titles at WrestleMania being the best feeling ever, and wanting to experience that kind of feeling again because, there hasn't been anything like that. Mentioned being 2 years on the main roster and then having nothing for 6 months, and them pitching plans. These plans fell through. There was tons of tag teams that they wanted to get into programs with, and they were trying. And then they said 2 years of ups and downs, and here we are. And that's basically, I'm not going to say literally, but that's basically the rundown. Like, they didn't go into specifics, and they're planning on doing that in subsequent episodes.
Yeah.
She says Peyton Royce mentioned that they're planning on diving into the WWE release either in episode 2 or 3, so that's coming up. Assuming this is a weekly episode, it'll be 2 or 3, or next week or the week after that. Then they'll dive into that. The only other revelation here is that Billie Kay said that she's married. She's very private about it and plans on opening up about that later on in the show. So yeah, it's they obviously have great chemistry, and I'm looking forward to what they have to say down the road.
Definitely. Speaking of things moving on down the line, WWE.
Oh, I said down the
back
road.
On the road.
And then this is returning to the road. I threw that to you.
Yeah. Anyways, WWE confirmed today that they will be indeed returning to the road July 16th, just as Andrew Zarian of Matt Med Podcast said they would, saying today they're kicking off a 25-city tour starting July 16th in Houston, Texas, and that's going to go all the way through Labor Day. WWE also announced that Money in the Bank, the pay-per-view, will happen July 18th in Fort Worth, Texas, with following night's Raw emanating just down the road a little bit in Dallas.
Yeah.
In the Metroplex, the Dallas Metroplex area. I believe that's what they call Dallas and Fort Worth. So 25 city tour. That's what, about 2.5 months. I saw that Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics did the math about how many shows a week, and there's like a few extra dates. If you just count Mondays, Fridays, and monthly pay-per-views. There's a few extra days, so they could potentially do house shows. Just a small handful.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go then. Yeah. Cool. Back on the road. Looking forward to that. Already, friendos are talking about going to Vegas for SummerSlam. I'm kind of curious, man, if indie wrestling hits SummerSlam hard in Vegas. I wouldn't mind looking into it. Might be fun. Could be fun.
We got 3 months to plan that out.
We have a while.
Potentially.
Impact Wrestling was last night.
Man.
Time to kick up my feet, Larson.
Oh,
what happened?
Hell of a stream last night. Thanks to the Enforcer. He and I held it down full 2 hours. It was a lot of fun. Chat with the Enforcer is always a blast. He's the absolute best. Had some interesting developments, including a shocking conclusion to this week's Impact. Here's the rundown. Rohit Raju defeats Jake Something. Tennille Dashwood defeated Kira Hogan. They're obviously building to Tennille, and Taylor Wilde taking on Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz for the tag titles. This was exciting. Kojima.
Yeah.
Is going to bring the Cozy Lariat and his flurry of chops to Impact Wrestling.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Petey Williams defeated VSK.
I'm sorry, who defeated VSK?
Maple Leaf Muscle.
Thank you.
Moose came out for a promo. He's confronted by Kenny. It seems like things about to get physical because Kenny was like, "Hey, I'll drop you with a one doing danger. We won't kick out." And he's like, "Want me to do it right now? I'll do it right now." And then Good Brothers come out. It says, "Oh, you thought I was going to do it right now?" And then Sami Callihan runs out to make the save. They're definitely prepping Sami Callihan to be the guy
Slammiversary.
to take that belt off Kenny in case Moose decides to go elsewhere. At the least, Sami is going to be his opponent, Kenny's opponent at Slammiversary.
That's going to be the match.
Even if Moose sticks around.
Yeah, because I don't think they do like a rematch. Yeah, I agree with that.
Rachel Ellering defeated Jordan Grace. They lost the tag titles.
Well, that was
Under
quick.
siege. The tension between them.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea was Jordan Grace pitched this as a way to get on the same page.
Okay.
So let's fight. The main event saw Finn Juice successfully retain the Impact Tag Team titles against Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. But then, Violent by Design comes to the ring. Rhino cashes in the Call Your Shot trophy.
When was that at the last pay-per-view?
No, he got that a while. He's been holding that for a while.
Really?
When he joined Violent by Design, he had that thing already.
Oh my gosh.
I think he's had it for a while. Anyways, he cashed it in. Rhino and Confused Cowboy Joe Doring are now your Impact Tag Team.
I did watch that little chunk. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I'm sad that I missed Confused Cowboy getting the tag titles because that's pretty rad.
You missed a fun stream. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I had family obligations. Tonight, SmackDown, no such family obligations except to the Tribal Chiefs family. And we've got one thing in the preview. Apollo Crews is going to defend his Intercontinental title in that colossal, their words, not mine, fatal 4-way this Friday, tonight.
Should be really good.
Yeah, that should be really hell of a match. Sammy, Kevin Owens, and
Big E.
Big E. Yeah, there you go.
That's going to be a really good match. I hope it main events.
Oh, you'd think it would, yeah.
Give it 25, 30 minutes, let it main event.
Oh, that'd be great. The entrances start at 40 till the hour.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
It's good. All right, anyway, so yeah, we're going to be recapping that tonight on the Twitch.
Hold on, I got a bit of news. Speaking of Twitch, Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be watching my movies for Royal Rumble punishments.
Wow, that's actually happening?
It's
a real thing.
That's a real thing. It's really happening. So again, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, this Sunday, which is what, the 23rd?
Sounds
23rd.
Like could be right, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be sitting here watching movies. I have to make sure General Commander is still available via Amazon Prime Video. Correct. And you got to tell me what the second movie I'm watching.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Are you going to join me for that, or am I watching that?
I'm going to pop in and out. Just make sure, just go on Zoom for your camera input so that I can just, I'll be there, and then I won't be there. I'll be there, and then I won't be there.
Like last night when you popped it on the Impact, and like it on the frame I had it cut off Enforcer's head and only saw like above your eyes. And
you never know.
As soon as I fixed it, you bounced out.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen on the Impact screen.
Yeah, I like predictability in my life, so that's gonna cause me anxiety, Steve. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Not sure why you ever decided to partner up with me then, buddy.
I kind of feel like, to a certain degree, my hand was forced. But hey, with life.
Oh, it's never your fault, is it? Anyways, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Goodbye.